Did you know that online streaming is becoming the most powerful means of reaching a broader audience? Even major networks are transitioning from cable television to online streaming platforms. BGK is a Christian online TV network that is ahead of the curve. We specialize in virtual broadcasting, allowing leaders to broadcast right from their homes while sitting in the comfort of their customized studios. And as if that wasn't enough, you can have our very own broadcast production for as low as $25 per week. Yes, I said it, $25 per week. Wouldn't you love to have your studio right in the comfort of your home? Well, call us at 877-386-6207 and become a broadcast partner with BGK Broadcast Network.
Hey, this is Apostle Sharon Peters Ruff. I'm the host of Living the Good Life in HD. Listen, do you have an inspirational word, or do you have something that you would like to feed the body of Christ with? Why don't you be a part of the BGK family? Listen, call BGK now, the BGK Network, and get on board. All right, I'll look for you soon.
Are you looking for a marketing company that can capture your vision? Branding yourself or your business is no small task. That's why at Flaming Sword Productions, we offer unique visual concepts that are designed to meet all of your campaign needs. We provide a one-stop business solution to successfully brand your business, ministry, or organization just the way you envisioned it. Our designs range from banners, booklets, and book covers to e-promotions, logos, seals, and promotional t-shirts, and so much more. We are fast and affordable. Are you ready to let us create your unique brand identity? If so, contact us today at 312-863-0597 or email us at flamingswordwitty@gmail.com.
Hello there. Thank you so much for tuning in again to Living the Good Life in HD with Apostle Sharon. Listen, I am your host of this show, this broadcast, I should say, Living the Good Life in HD. Again, I'm Apostle Sharon Peters Ruff, and I am so glad to be here with you. I come every week to talk to you about two things, life and living. I'm so passionate about life. I love living life. I love what Jesus did for us. Thank God he did. He came that we might have life. Notice that word, might have life, and that we might have it more abundantly. I'm all about that type of life. I tell you all the time, I do not look to the world to give me an idea of what God intended life in the earth to be like. I look to heaven, I look to him, I look to divinity. I get a higher definition of what life really is. I'm so happy today to have one of my own with me, an apostolic daughter of mine. She's back with me again. She's so gracious she came back to talk to us again about healthy living. Will you help me welcome Alicia Mosley back into the studio again? How are you doing, Alicia? Thank you so much for coming back.
I am well. Thank you again for the invite.
Just in case they didn't catch our last show that we aired on healthy living, it was actually part one. If you didn't see it, please go back and search YouTube, the BGK Network, and look for that episode of Healthy Living Part 1. Tell us a little bit about yourself, daughter.
So hi, So I am Alicia Mosley, and again, I'm married to Apostle Joseph Mosley of 11 years. I am currently a BHS, a behavioral health specialist, where I work with families and children. Often was in the role of a health teacher, so health is something that I'm really passionate about. And I am currently pursuing my studies in naturopathic medicine, where it's holistic medicine, helping you to choose health and to live a life in holistically.
Thank you so much, Alicia. It is great to have you on Living the Good Life in HD. And I don't think that we can really live good if we're not healthy. Listen, there's no fun being sick, no fun being diagnosed. I almost most people have received some type of diagnosis, and I always say I gotta live above the diagnosis. The diagnosis is the name to what is wrong with me, what's wrong with you. One of the things I want to get in with you, you are a health coach to many, myself included. You help put us on a path of healthy living, health being not just a goal, but being a lifestyle. And that requires a lot of changes and all of that. And in our first part of this broadcast on healthy living, we talked a lot about food, we talked about water, and we talked about all those type of things. But what I really want to get into, because it's a great interest whenever I hear you talk about health, and you deal with a lot of diseases and sicknesses and all of that, but you always come back to talk about sales and why it's necessary for us to keep our sales healthy. And so, can you just elaborate on your findings? I know you have great studies as it relates to sales and how sales play a part in our overall health as it relates to our bodies. So, can you just talk about that a little bit?
So when we think about just the foundation, and I'm because typically as a holistic person, you think things from a holistic standpoint. So think about how we were created. We came from cells in so many words. And so even if your cells were not healthy, there was often a challenge even for you to come forth. And so we are like cells are our foundation. And if we think about if that's the foundation of who we are, that's what we need to continue to keep healthy in order to continue to live healthy. So I often say this, your cells, I think we have like trillions of cells in our body, and there's like a length to your cells. So your skin cells may live so many days, your eye cells live. We don't realize that everything is made up of a cell. So your cells is what produce your tissues. Your tissues develop into organs. So think about like your heart. It's made up of cells, which has heart muscles and tissues. And then every organ has a form of a system. So think about your heart. Your heart is considered your cardiovascular system. And so if it all started with the cell, then you have the heart tissues, and then you have the heart, and then the cardiovascular system. If that cell at the very beginning is abnormal or sick, just like with your colon or whatever, this is where we find when people talk about cancer, it's an abnormal cell, or it's a cell that's not whole, or a cell that's not complete. So that's where sickness comes from. Malfunctioning cells, or cells that are damaged, cells that are abnormal. And if those are not healthy, this is why we see so many diseases and sickness that is around, because our foundation is not whole.
So, let me get this right. So, abnormal cells or dysfunctioning cells can make us sick and
Yes.
are contributors to diseases or illnesses like cancer. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
So, what can we do to make healthy that which we don't necessarily see ourselves or whatever? What kind of things can we do to promote healthy cells?
So, what again? Your cells need certain things. So, think about like someone who's diabetic. They always talk about glucose. Yeah, it needs it, but it doesn't need too much, or sometimes it's not getting enough, or sometimes it's getting too much glucose. We always call it sugar, but glucose is sugar. It needs oxygen. It needs water. It needs vitamins. So, when you think about, which we'll talk about, when you think about vitamins, everything you eat is providing your cells some nutrients. But if you're eating grease, there is no nutritional value to grease. But is there nutritional value to spinach? And so when we think about, which is why it's important, when we talked about what do you eat determines like what is giving your body nutrients. Is it anti-nutrient or is it nutritious? And so that's why healthy eating is important, because it's what's feeding your cells. And if your cells are not getting what they need, exercise, sleep, nutrition, then they unfortunately do not die because they're supposed to die so that the new ones can come. Then you get that abnormal cell. And when everyone's going around here saying cancer sucks, yeah, it does. But if we hit the cells and we give the cells what it needs, then we don't have so much abnormal growth. Even though there are some times where, things happen and you can be healthy and cells decide to do what they want to do. But if you're giving your body a chance, then it will choose to live and fight and heal itself.
This is profound to me, because most of the time we're not, again, we talked about this in the last broadcast in part 1 of healthy living. Most of the time we're not educated from this sense. We're told that we perhaps need to feed our bodies, but nobody ever told me you need to think about what you're eating, because you're also feeding your cells. And nobody ever said to me, oh, that's not good for your cells. They may say that's not good for your heart, or that's not good for this, your muscular, system or whatever. Nobody ever said to me, hey, watch that, because that what you're eating is not good for your cells. So again, I'm still on these cells a bit, because that's profound to me. You said grease is not providing per se a nutrient to our cells, a bunch of greasy food, but you said spinach would be providing something, or carrots would be providing something. Is it more of the plant-based foods that give us the most nutrients to our cells?
Well, I do believe, because, when we originally were created in a garden, or when Adam was originally created, and the scripture says that he had everything that pertained to life. And then it also talks about he had herb for meat. It didn't say he had chicken for meat. He said it had herb for meat. And so when we think about that, a lot of people often want to eat meat, and that's their way, but we never want to eat where originally was created, which was the food of the ground, the trees, trees of life. So we had everything we needed in the garden. But again, the world system and sin and all of those things opened us up to a numerate of meat and all of those things. Not saying that you can't, because we had this conversation about do animals give you better protein than plant food. So I would say this, you have to choose your own way. But again, of course, coming from the ground, which is how God created food, that it is the most healthy, because it already, the way it's created, it doesn't technically go through a processing, especially if you do it organically. Me and you even discuss how we got something from the garden. It was a tomato, and the tomatoes that came from the garden opposed to the tomatoes that came out the store, we saw a difference in how long it preserved and all of those things. So the ground has the nutrients that are needed because of the sunlight. Going back to your whole science class, photosynthesis and all of those things, it provides nutrients, and those nutrients is what our body needs. Whereas if we're constantly eating meat, it goes through a lot of processing, just like even with the dairy. People say, why is dairy bad? Originally it was good, but now because of the processing and what they're feeding the animals these days and how they're living, it has a lot of effects on its nutritional value. And so constantly eating those wrong things definitely do affect your cells, because again, your cells is what begins to make up the whole body system.
Yeah, we got to really rethink some of the things. And yes, we did have a wonderful example where we did get, my mother gave us tomatoes from her organic garden. And 2 months in, I was still able to use those tomatoes. And, you can buy some at the store, and in 2 or 3 days, they're no good. So, yeah, it's a lot going on with our foods, and we have to be very careful if we're going to be on this healthy living pathway, this lifestyle. Listen, I want to talk to you because we hear so much now with us being in the midst of a pandemic. It isn't over yet. COVID-19 hit the land and totally, changed. It just changed the world. And now we got variants, and we still got people getting sick, and we still, in the United States alone, we saw over 700,000 people die from COVID. I mean, never had I seen anything like that in my lifetime. I don't know about yours. But we saw a lot of talk, Alicia, about vitamins. We saw a lot of talk about vitamins. Can you just tell our viewers and those that's watching Living a Good Life in HD about, your take on vitamins, how they help the immune system? We heard so much, take your D, take zinc, and elderberry. We heard a lot of things about vitamin, and a lot of people got on the bandwagon. I did too. Talk to us about vitamins in relationship to helping us stay healthy.
Well, vitamins are important, especially because as a society, we're not, again, eating like we should. So, for example, if you know you're not getting any of that plant-based food in, any vegetables in, or anything of that nature, your body is missing many nutrients that it needs in order to consistently thrive. So when you're thinking about lack of energy, so what these vitamins are doing, they're considered supplements and vitamins. They are helping your body to fight, or you're helping your body to get the nutrients it needs. So going back to cells, a lot of the vitamins like zinc protects your healthy cells, or protects your cells, your immune cells. So they help you produce new healthy cells. So it puts like a coating around your cells and say, hey, so when viruses try to come in, disease try to come in, when your body, the vitamins are helping your body to build a defense. So when we thought about COVID, a lot of people did not have a defense. And so what happened is their body was not able to fight. They had a weakened immune system or just no protection because of what we were eating and not having. So your zinc is very beneficial to your cells. Vitamin D is what our body needs. We don't make it, so we need it, especially for us in the Midwest. We don't get a lot of sun during certain times of the year. Again, your body needs sunlight in order to function properly. And then your vitamin C, when you think about a cold, that's a stockable vitamin C because it's going to help your cells fight off those invaders. So our immune system is what is to fight off viruses, bacteria, infection. And if we're not giving, again, the cells what it needs, it can't fight. It's like going out to the battle when an attack comes in, and because, they're weakened, they're not strong, again, because of the toxins and not having enough water and all of the things we do with our lifestyle choices, we don't prepare the body. So I would encourage you to take zinc, vitamin D, vitamin C, vitamin B also for those who are challenged with energy. All of these things are great factors to boost the immune system. And last but not least, don't forget your probiotics, because your gut health is between 70 to 80% of your immune health. And if your gut is not healthy, then pretty much what you're putting in is not absorbing the nutrients. So when you eat those vitamins or take those vitamins, your body cannot really absorb it because your gut is not healthy. So the probiotics and the pre and probiotics help with the bad bacteria and the good bacteria. And so getting that in, the elderberry, other natural things are garlic, mushrooms, so it doesn't always have to be vitamins. It can be garlic, mushrooms, and other things that help build healthy cells.
This is so good, guys. This is really, really good. I think education, knowledge is really powerful. I mean, people are just losing it and coming to ruins because they don't have knowledge. I mean, really, this needs to be taught young. It needs to be taught in the home. It needs to be taught in school. And I'll talk more about that and let Alicia talk. We really need to talk about this more in our local church communities. Just pausing a minute, if you're listening to us by way of YouTube, why don't you download the BGK app? You can go to the Apple or the Google store and download the BGK app. Listen, we are a family here at BGK. I'm not the only broadcaster. This network is 24/7 of virtual broadcasting. We have some awesome broadcasters on here looking to give inspiration 24/7. This is new. This is a new way of bringing you inspiration. So we want you to be a part of it, that you can just go to your app at any time. Also, I would love for you to visit my website, SharonRPeters.org. I have an array of books there. I also have a mentorship for women only. I would love for you to check that out, or just send me an email if you're listening, and tell us about how you're enjoying this. That's Sharon Peters 912 at yahoo.com. So I want to go back to my special guest here. She's knowledgeable, Alicia Mosley. I thank you so much. You're just giving us so much, that whole thing about vitamin D. We don't make it, but we need it. We don't make it, but we need it. And I have been told at one point or another, not now, that I was vitamin D deficient. My granddaughter was told vitamin D deficient, and I know countless people that are vitamin D deficient. Now I'm not anymore, because I began taking vitamin D, and of course, having you as a health coach, you have gotten me on this journey, and I'm so glad that you did. What about exercise? Help us out with exercise. I know that's got to help us.
Well, exercise, I know that's that taboo word a lot, because we feel like it's got to be some intense. But I tell everybody, it can be as simple as, it's cold out, I don't want to go out. Okay, walk around the house, go up the stairs. But again, you're going to often hear me keep talking about those cells, because the cell is, pretty much your foundation. And so when you exercise, that's one, going to boost your energy. I can remember days where I'm like, I'm tired, I don't feel like it. But exercise does something to the cells. It builds your muscle, it builds strength, it improves blood circulation, it reduces disease, and reduces stress. And I throw a little bone in there. Depending on your blood type will determine what kind of exercise you need. And so for me, being a blood type O, I can tell when I need to do an intense workout to release stress, or to allow the chemicals in my body to really flow like they need to. And so you need exercise at least 30 minutes a day. Again, it's even highly important for anybody who is diabetic, because of the glucose that is in and out of the cells. It can help burn that glucose, so that you're not having a buildup. And so when we think about exercise, we may think that, I got to go to the gym and work out. It's simple as getting the heart rate going from a rested state. And so if you're rested, we say, we're not sedentary, but a lot of us are, because we're in the home and we're not moving, and our heart rate is not increasing. So if your heart rate is not increasing, you're not really detoxifying and giving your body. So walk, jog, get some cardio in. Your heart needs it. We have a lot of heart disease around, because the heart is not getting what it needs. So exercise is going to be very important to help grow, produce growth of new cells, and to eliminate a lot of disease.
So that cardio gets that heart pumping and all of that. I'm very I'm so grateful to you being my health coach, trying to not just achieve goals of losing weight or anything like that, but getting me on a road to better health, being healthy, being 61 years old. I don't want to, as I would always say, I don't want to die sick. Just let me go to sleep and die. Why do we have to die sick? That would always be my question. Why do we have to die sick? The people in the Bible, many of them were not dying sick. They just went to sleep. They slept. The Lord took them, or whatever. But this is so good. I remember you got me and others walking this summer. We were walking. Maybe it's not a lot to some of you all listening, but we were walking 2.5 miles, sometime even 3 miles, 3 times a week, and that was really good for me. And I want to say to those of you that's listening, there is a question There are about 3 questions that when you go to the doctor, Alicia, you can probably attest to this, that the doctor is going to ask you all the time, and maybe a 4th one now, but they're going to ask you, do you smoke? They're going to ask you, do you drink alcohol? If you say yes, they're going to ask you how much. And number 3, they're going to ask you, do you exercise? And one of the things with me, and I'll just be transparent, I got tired of saying, no, I don't smoke, no, I don't drink. But here's what I got tired of. I got tired of saying, no, I don't exercise. So I'm most happy now when I go in for my exams and stuff and they ask me that question, do you exercise? And I say, yes, I do. Yes, I do. So I'm glad to be able to give a yes. The other 2 no's are great, but I was glad to be able to give a yes to exercising. I want to just talk with us a little bit more. And you kind of mentioned about that dairy. Now, I recall growing up and seeing commercials that said milk does a body good. Now, milk is not, dairy is not so good. Talk to us a little bit about that. You kind of alluded to it a little bit. And what are some of the effects that dairy can have on the body that's not necessarily positive?
So yeah, that's the big fight now in the healthcare industry. Is it good or is it not? And so again, because it's, for our ancestors, it was probably really great. But again, it was how they were producing and preparing their food. So they was pretty much, as they say, getting it right from the mouth. So they were getting it and not having to go through so much processing. But now when we get the animals, again, what are they eating? What are they being fed? Are they getting antibiotics? You notice now a lot of doctors are trying to eliminate just automatically giving you an antibiotic because it's destroying your good bacteria. It's destroying off your body system. And so when we think about dairy, they're giving these cows antibiotics because they don't want bacteria. And then it's linked to you and feeding you. Then the high lactose that is notice a lot of adults are becoming more lactose intolerant which is another sugar. And so it's a digestive enzyme that our body can't break down. And what is happening is there's so many challenges with dairy now because of the processing of it. And it's now linked to inflammation and mucus buildup. And so we know inflammation and mucus buildup can link or lead to disease. And so that's your arthritis and all of the challenges that a lot of people are having. Disease is just where it's inflammation. It's where your body is saying, something is wrong. It's not in its normal state. And so unfortunately, dairy is one of those. The great thing is they have a lot of alternatives, but dairy is linked to a lot of mucus. If I eat something that has dairy in it and I go to sleep, about 7 out of 10 times, I wake up with a stuffy nose. Does it go away? Yes, but it's nothing but mucus buildup.
Well, you have given us some insight. You've dealt with the old and taken us into the new. In about 30 seconds, tell us about your new book coming out.
So I have a new book called One Day. It takes one day to begin your health journey. And so this book is going to help you understand that you're going to have to take it one day at a time in order to start your health journey and live a lifestyle of health. So I encourage you to get this journal as you set your goals.
Thank you so much. All right, you guys, you've heard it. Healthy living. Tune in next time. We're going to have more to talk about on living the good life in HD. Bye-bye for now.